there are real serious challenges, no doubt. But I believe in the resilience of this young revolution. And this is a resilience that is based on what's called distributed systems. It is like the resilience of the internet. It comes because of massive networking and massive distribution. There is no central command and control for this revolution. Anyone who claims that they made this revolution or that they're the one who instigated it or are basically true and right in what they affirm, but wrong in what they deny. In the sense they are just like a string of fabric in a cloth. They do participate and they do bear some of the responsibility, but they would be wrong to deny the contribution of all the others. So it's very much a distributed revolution. And in this revolution, we have the re-emergence of a pre-Italian, pre-Graziani, distributed localization in many ways. We have seen local councils emerge at the village level, at the town level, at the city level. These local councils have played a tremendous role in this revolution. They have emerged naturally. They have joined the National Transitional Council to some degree. Now, inshallah, through the process that is outlined in the constitutional decree, there will be more participation from the local councils. This localization is very, very important. We must not see this localization as an anti-central government trend. On the contrary, it is a distribution that will assure the resilience of the Libyan revolution and that will also assure that it will not be stolen and that it will not be abused and that it will not be monopolized. There are definite risks. You know, Gaddafi is like a poisonous insect. You may kill the insect, but the venom and maybe even a part of that insect is already inside the body. And there is a lot of work that will have to developing an antidote to this. And the antidote to it is very simple. It is love and charity, because it is a poison of hatred and divisiveness that he had injected into the Libyan society. He is the one who created most of the divisions in Libyan society. And what the Libyan people did was to say, no, we're not divided, we're one. We want to be together. And the Libyan unity that has emerged out of this revolution is absolutely amazing. I have never seen in my life Libyans more united than now. And I do not think that it is a unity for merely taking out Gaddafi. I think it's a genuine mutual love and respect and mutual compassion, and the genuine unity that is coming from respecting the locality in every locality, so that there is a national fabric that emerges just as emergence happens in complex systems. So that when we're now looking for leadership, you know, some people wonder, why is Mustafa Abdul Jalil so inspiring as a leader? He's definitely not into command and control from the top down. And people wonder, you know, how could this humble, fairly fragile man lead the nation in such a critical period? I believe it is precisely because he is fragile, precisely because he is not self-imposing, that people are rallying around him. And I think we need to get used to the idea of a new kind of leadership in Libya, a leadership that respects the emergence of the will of the people naturally from the bottom up, rather than from the top down.